Welcome to the Top 100 Shortcuts for Logos 4, Part 6 of 6. Can you believe it that we are now in the last one of the series? We're reaching 80 to 100 shortcuts tonight. And let me tell you, when I first originally started to do this, I really didn't have any idea how many shortcuts there were. I knew there'd be, somewhere around 60, 70, 80, and I could probably, figure out. But let me tell you, we covered so much ground that it was very difficult to come up with the last 20 shortcuts. I mean, we have exhausted it. And this is a wonderful series. In fact, we are in our final session, and I definitely recommend getting them all. This is the first 5. Tonight will be 6. And what's so great about this is they're only $4.99 each. So for $30 after tonight's webinar, you're going to have nearly 9 hours of training for $30. You just can't beat that kind of value on the internet for Logos 4 training. So take advantage of that. Now, tonight is the first Monday of the month, and that puts us here with that orange bar, the Top 100 Shortcuts. A month from now, we're going to be studying important doctrines, continuing our series there. This topic will be the one another's that you've heard about in the Bible, so I'm very excited to bring you that. We do have training 3 times a month for free online. And the first Monday of every month, we just did that one, June 4th. The next one, 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be doing a biographical sketch with Logos 4. How do you study a person in the Bible? And we're going to pick the Apostle Paul as such an individual. So that's a great, great study. If you've ever wanted to study anybody in the Bible, we're going to teach you how using Paul as an example. And then the last week there, last Monday of the month, May 28th, we're going to pick up where we left off on part 2 of Out of the Discourse Maze, practical uses of the HD, NT, and the Lexham Discourse Greek New Testament for Bible study and sermon preparation. If you like that first one, this is going to be even better. So very excited. If you haven't signed up for that, you can at LearnLogos.com/webinar. Just a quick reminder, after the webinar is over, we're going to make the download available within 24 to 48 hours, and you'll receive that email link usually tomorrow or first thing Wednesday. And the webinars are topically based, and we cover a lot of things that we just don't have time for on the training DVDs that you see there over at the right. Now, the training DVDs is really an amazing value. Just to give you a perspective, this is 17 plus hours of straight Logos training. It's over 305 videos. It is the most comprehensive training on Logos. The orange and green CD show you every single feature in the Logos 4 program. The blue CDs has 3 parts. The first part is we do a lecture on different parts of Bible study. There's 11 lectures in all. Then we also have 130 book overviews. We give you these quick 1 to 3 minute videos on books that are in your library as well as outside your library to show you how to use these books in different steps of the Bible study process. You'll be amazed of what you will learn about the books you already have and the books you can add to your Logos library. And then the third and most important part, what makes the best practices really a great value, is that we're going to take you through the Great Commission, Matthew 28:16 through 20, and show you how to study and prepare a message with Logos 4. We take you through prayer, historical background, theological background, word studies, how to build a biblical outline, commentary work, cross-referencing, cross-checking, dealing with problems and solutions, looking for illustrations and applications, even how to build a proposition and so forth. This is an amazing value. And to give you a perspective, this retails for $45. Well, it retails for $90, but we have discounted that at 50% off for $45. So it's a phenomenal deal, and I highly recommend. If you like the webinars and it's great and it's fast-paced, the foundation to all the webinars is the DVD training, and you can get that as a download or DVD only or both. So take advantage of that. If you don't have it, you can't go wrong with that training. And like I said, we're in our final session. We're going to have over 9 hours of training for $29.94. So take advantage of that. Now, tonight's, because it's the top 100 shortcuts, this is a little bit different than our other types of webinars, because what we're going to be doing is just showing you feature after feature after feature. And so we'll just go one after the other, and feel free along the way to ask questions as you need. So let's take a look at these first 5. We're going to show you how to search everything but your Bible, and this is going to be really important for doing Hebrew and Greek word searches. We're going to show you how Logos can remember your last session. We're going to show you how to create a quick access to Bible Word Study report that's customized to you. We're going to look at the search shortcut for timelines collection for people. And also we're going to show you how to study theologically and topically. All right, and we got some questions already. We got Ben DeCamp. This is the West Point of Logos training. Yeah, exactly. And yes, thanks for calling me West Point. Thanks. All right. Now let's begin with this first one. So let's open up Logos and jump right into this right away. Now, what we want to do is search everything but your Bible. And let me show you the problem that when you get started with Logos. So I'm going to open up just a New American Standard Bible, and I'm just going to take 2 Peter 3:14 here, and I'm going to right-click on the word promise. And I'm going to choose the lemma so we can search on the Greek word, but I'm going to search the whole entire library. Now this you probably have done for yourself, but here's the problem when you search the entire library. And let me demonstrate. You're going to get a whole bunch of Bibles. There's the ESV, there's the interlinear, the King James, and really your first couple pages, depending on how big your library, is going to be all Bibles. And this gets in the way of you finding out what this word means in other books. So that's our problem. How do we correct it? Very easy to do. So to do that, we go to Tools and we go to Collections. Now I've already created this, so I'm going to go ahead and open it. And what I've done is I've titled it Entire Library Except the Bible. In fact, let me turn on my little pen marker here so we can see that. And here you go, Entire Library Except Bible. So that's going to be our collection name. And the reason we label this Entire Library is so that you will see the entire library option, and then you'll see this option too as a quick reminder. Now the rule is pretty straightforward, and here it is. Now we use some special coding to achieve this. The first one is addition::logos. What that's going to do, let me demonstrate, is I'm going to open up the library here by clicking on the book. And what you may not realize when you right click on these columns is that you have different attributes that you can search on. One of those attributes is the edition attribute. And there are several types of books in your library depending on, again, the types of books you have. So the edition is a way of a way for us to select these types of books. So the first one is :logos. Then we use a little Boolean operator called OR, and we're going to look for the other books, editions: ebook. So if you've been using Verso, for example, you have some of Verso books in your library. They may be tagged as ebook. Then we use the OR again, and we have the edition: user created. That's for your personal books that you have created. Then notice the last thing, and it's very important that this option does go last. We use a minus sign, the word type, :Bible. Turns out that Logos has organized your books with a type, and Bibles are their own type. So what we're telling Logos is, look, get me all the different editions in the library, but when you come across an edition that is labeled type Bible, we want that removed from our collection. So now let's rerun this search and see the results for it. So I'm going to right click on Promise, and I'm going to choose the lemma again and search Entire Library. And then the last step is to go here to the entire library and just simply choose. Now look at this. I'm going to type in the word entire, and there it is, Entire Library Except Bible. Okay? And when I click on that, Logos will rerun the search, and look at the difference in the search results. In fact, here we got a side-by-side comparison. Right away, we're in the books. We've got 23 results versus 87. And that's just one example. Many times you're going to have many more if it's a well-used word in the Bible. So this little extra step of creating a collection with everything except your Bible can save you a lot of time and get you to the meat of the books that you're looking for in this word. A great shortcut and very handy. Now, if you're wondering, boy, John, that was a lot of information. How am I ever going to remember that rule? Good news. With the purchase of this webinar, I'll be including my supplemental document, which has all the special rules and the quick steps of how to get to each one of those. So you can use this kind of as a guide as you're following the video, and that'll be included free with the purchase of this webinar. All right. And the question is, Chris, why did you need to use the addition in the filter? Yeah, let me review that one more time real quick. What you may not realize, Chris, is that there's 3 types of additions in Logos. There is the Logos addition. Let me scroll down a little bit further. All right. There's also, in fact, there's actually 2 other types. There's the ebooks, which is the Verso. And in fact, let me go see if I can get that to the top. And there's also the user-created books. And so that's why we use all 3 types of editions in here. And that just makes it real easy to filter those. And I just want to make sure that I've got all 3 of those. Now, if you didn't want the user-created book, then you don't have to include that in there. But it's just to be very clear that we got everything in our library first, and then we subtract out the Bibles from it. Can we do the search and keep all the books except Perseus? Hey, that's a great question, Tom. And yes, you can. So let's go back to collections. And let's open up that. So I'm going to type in the word entire again. And what we can do is we can say minus. Now, we have to find out how Perseus is labeled in our library. So let me see. I think, let's see, that is under... yeah, under publisher. So a little bit different there. So what we're going to do is minus publisher. And let me type that in correctly. There we go. And minus publisher. And then we just put in Perseus. And you'll right away see that my resources went from over 7,000 to 5,855. So it's very important that you put these minuses at the end of the search, not at the beginning, or end of this rule rather than the beginning. Let's see, and there you go. Could you explain more about the user-created books? Yes, I did a whole webinar called Personal Book Builder. And if you go to File, and actually, I'm sorry, Tools, Personal Books, you can create your own personal book inside Logos. You could take a Word document and turn it into a Logos searchable book. And those are the user-created books that you can create. So just be aware of that. And if you want to learn more about that particular resource, let me just go ahead and open that quickly. So let me open up Firefox here. And we'll just go to LearnLogos.com. And I'll show you where you can find that. We go to Webinars, and you just float your mouse over the menu. And you'll see down below here, one Personal Book Builder webinar. And we have this one available. It's almost a 2-hour training that will show you everything on how to use the Personal Book Builder and create your user-created documents. Great question, and really appreciate it. All right, so let's go now back to rule number 82. How do you remember your last session? Now, if you're normally the way Logos is set up by default is if you go to your home page and click on Customize, you're going to see an option at the bottom. Let me bring that up again, called Show Home Page at Startup. And for most of you, this is checked. And so what that means is every time you turn off Logos and turn it back on, you're taken back to the home page. And that's nice to keep up to date and see, you're going to get information from Logos, books to buy, announcements and coupons and things like that. But if you're like me who's studying every day or nearly every day, you're studying along and then you kind of have to stop and you want to pick up where you left off. The one way to deal with that is to save your layouts, and you right-click on your layouts and you say Update to Current Snapshot. But sometimes you forget. I certainly have forgotten. And so what I want is an automatic way to always remember the thing I've done. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to open up my Bible study workspace. Okay, this is something I've created before. We covered this in a webinar called Layouts, and we go through each step in the Bible study process and the optimum layout to use for that for each step of the Bible study process. So if you want to learn more about different layouts, that's a great webinar that we did earlier in the year. And so here's my layout. And just to make things interesting, let's put in the last verse of the Bible, Revelation 22:21. And there we are. All right, so we'll go to the very last Bible verse here. The grace of our Lord Jesus be with you all. Now, let me just double check and make sure that customize is off, which it is, or the show homepage at startup is unchecked. Now, because it's unchecked, all I have to do is leave my workspace like this. And I'm going to go ahead and close down Logos right now. That takes us back to our PowerPoint. Nothing up my sleeve. And I'm going to go ahead and launch Logos again. So give me 1 second here to find my icon. So here we go. Here's Logos. I'm going to go ahead and get it started. And what you're going to notice in just a few moments is that exactly where I left off, Logos will remember. And there you go. Isn't that awesome? Back to Revelation 22:21, just the way we had it. So this is a very powerful way to remember the last session. So if you're studying and then you suddenly say, all right, I've got to quit, this is a great way to get back in. And Calvin said that he noticed that the sound gets cuts in and out. What I think, Calvin, if you're on an iPad or if you're on wireless, that can affect the sound quality. So you want to get to a stronger signal, and that should clear it up. Another thing is just log off and log back in and get a newer connection with the technology. Just so you know, all these webinars are recorded here locally, and so the sound quality in the webinar is going to be studio quality, as the screen will be too, since we're recording my screen. All right, wonderful, and thanks for letting me know. And it looks like everyone else is saying their sound is fine, so looking good. All right, so that's how we can remember your last session. So let's go now to 83 shortcut, and this is create your own quick access Bible Word Study Report. This is a lot of fun, and I just learned about this one playing around with Logos, and it's very handy. Now the first step you have to do is set it up. So we're going to go to Guides, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a new guide template. New guide template. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. There we go. And I'm going to delete this one too. So I'm going to delete all my custom study guides so that you can see that mine are empty, which is more likely yours is empty too if you haven't played with this feature. So I'm going to Guides, and then I'm going to make a new guide template. Go ahead and click on that. Now, what I think is the best thing for word studies, for quick word studies, is to just have one section called the lemma section. Now, it's very important that when you open up the guide template, you give it a name. So click on the pencil, and let's just call this Quick Word Study. All right? Very simple. Click Word Study. And then over at the right, you're going to see we have two options, Bible Reference and Bible Word. Now, Bible Word is the one that is colored when you float your mouse over it. That means it's not selected. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Bible Word. When you click on one of these options, your menu choices are at the left. Now, when I do word studies, all I really want to focus on is the lemma. The lemma section is going to give me access to all the dictionaries and lexicons. So I'm going to go ahead and click on lemma one time, and you will now see the lemma section has appeared at the right. Now, if you want all these sections, then you've kind of defeated the purpose of this option, and you would just simply use the guide Bible Word Study. Okay, but all I want is the lemma section. So we've labeled it, we've added our content, we're now ready to close it. Now to see this in action, I'm going to open up my New American Standard Bible. And we're in Revelation 22:20, and let's look up the word testify. So I'm going to right click on testify. Next thing I'm going to choose is my lemma. Now notice at the left, I've highlighted, you can see a new menu option has appeared. Now there's our Bible Word Study that we're used to seeing, but now I have my personal quick lookup. So let's go ahead and click on Quick Word Study. And what happens? The only section that shows up is the section I had created, the lemma section. So I am instantly getting access to my lexicons and dictionaries. And again, this is just another way to approach word studies. And as you can see, very fast, very efficient. My screen is not cluttered up. I have just the information that I need to find out what that word means. So you now can create your own quick access Bible word study report. All right, let's go to this next one, and it's shortcut 84. And I've titled this one Search Shortcut for Timelines Collection for People. So let's show you how this one works. First thing we're going to do is and Mike just wanted to say, hey, I like this one. Great. I'm hoping you would. Now, this next one is using the collection feature again. So we're going to go to Tools, Collections. And the collection that I've created ahead of time is called Timelines. So that's the name of the collection we're going to use. Now, as far as the rule, we're going to use this one, type, timeline. Notice it's not an S at the end, just singular for timeline. You may not have realized this, but in Logos 4, Logos converted all the timelines into individual resources that you can open up. And since they did that, that also means that you can organize them into a collection as we have done. So the first step was to create this rule called timelines using the rule type, timeline. The next step is to search this for an individual person. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simply click on search, and we're going to choose basic search, and then we're going to click the drop down resource list and just simply put in timeline. And here we go. We see our timelines rule appear, or timelines collection appear in the list, and we go there. Now I'm going to type in before I type in anything, what I want to do next is put this shortcut on my toolbar, or my shortcut toolbar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it and give it a name. So I'm going to call it Timelines. Okay, I'm going to check the box, show label. And there we go. So I added the label just for tonight's training to differentiate it from my other search button. But again, you can use different characters and things like this. And now what I can do is I can close that window down, and anytime I want to search the timeline, I just click Timelines. All right, and now I have the ability to begin to search. And so we could type in Paul and search our timelines and learn something about the Apostle Paul. And so we can click here, and we got some information about the Apostle Paul, and we can work through the list and so forth. Okay, so he's mentioned in church history and so forth. So here's the apostolic age. We can click on that to expand, and there's the Apostle Paul mentioned here. All right, and also mentioned later where he's being martyred. So this is a wonderful way to find an individual inside a timeline. And so that gives us dates and other information. And because it's such an easy graphic to visualize, we can have this information more easily accessible than if we were to go to a Bible dictionary and so forth. Okay, Bob has a question. Can I ask what the icon is? The square with the snowflake. I've never seen that icon. Yes, you will see that later, Bob. So glad you observed that. All right, so the timeline feature is really nice because it gives you access to people and dates in a very easy way to access it. So you can search that. Very helpful. Okay, so let's go ahead now and back to our PowerPoint. And let's look at this one, this next one, 85, studying theologically and